And it's funny, you know, we do this kind of representation actually of what the fur looks like. You can see like minor adjustments would affect the feeling of the fur in there, you know, how this flows. And one of the things kind of an issue is like you're constantly dealing with like like here the fur comes to a point, but here you're like you gotta have a part somewhere. So it's like, where do you put that point? It's a little swirl. Where do you put the cowlicks? Like it's actually some thought goes into that stuff.
This represents the first act basically of our film. And it's also a really good visual representation of how we approach the color. So this represents the penguin's world. You can see it's very muted and crushed. We have little hits of color. Then we go into the chase in Venice. This is sort of as they're leaving Venice with North Wind. We start to introduce some of the cyan hits. And then we get into North Wind headquarters. So you can kind of see the difference of how the colors used, where this is much more cyan heavy. This bar right here kind of shows. We have a moment where we meet Dave the octopus, and you see his colors represented here. This is Shanghai, and you can see where we really hit the colors, like the full spectrum of colors, and that's what we were kind of working towards to this point. Again, this is a North Wind moment where it's clearly the cyan versus the penguins. North Wind has the upper hand here, so we wanted to push more of the cyans. This is the sequence I talked about, 1550 and 1575, where it starts off in the penguin world. It's really, they kind of have the upper hand here. So we're using more of their hue of blue, and then North Wind pulls out their technology and takes over basically the world with their color palette. So you can really see the difference between the two there.
So we were very attentive to how the folding wrinkles, you know, the shape of his fat. He doesn't have a lot. His nose, it's this cute little heart. You know, some thought went into that. He has this little muzzle. It's funny, he has such a tiny little mouth, and at the same time, it at times in the film expands to be such a wide shape.